Hello, Texas history students. This is Mr. Anderson, and today we are going to continue our unit on government. Today we're going to be looking at the Constitution of the United States of America and the Texas Constitution, and we're going to be comparing and contrasting the two. A constitution is a document that plans out how the government works and states the basic principles of what the government's for. It's also a document that tells us what our rights are as citizens and how the government can infringe or not infringe upon them. Governments are put together with a single purpose, at least when they're created by the citizens of a country. We create a government to serve our needs. That means to protect us and make sure we have what we need to stay safe and survive. When governments are created by a strongman or a king or someone who takes over a tyrant, then the government has a different purpose. Its purpose is to control its population, to force it to serve the needs of the individual in charge. It's important to note the difference between a tyrannical government, like a dictatorship, and a representative government in a republic, a government that is created by the people for the people, because the way the government interacts with its citizens is fundamentally different. We're going to be focused on today the governments of republics, governments created by the people of a nation for the purpose of serving those citizens' needs, protecting them, and contributing to the prosperity of the country. I'd like to start by looking at the preamble to the U.S. Constitution. The preamble is just the introduction. It's the part that tells us what the rest of the document's going to be about. The U.S. Constitution opens with these words: "We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America." The preamble of the Constitution is extremely important because it defines the rest of the document. It tells us the purpose for the rest of the document. It tells us why we establish a government and what purpose we expect it to serve for us. Because it is a government by the people, it is designed to serve us. Therefore, the purpose of our government is to make sure that we are treated justly, that we live in a tranquil society with order and law and safety, to provide for our defense, to promote our general well-being, and to make sure our children enjoy those same things. A constitution is not just for the federal government. State governments have their own constitution as well, to explain the rights of the citizens in the state and how the state government will function. Let's take a look at the Texas Constitution's preamble. "Humbly invoking the blessing of Almighty God, the people of the state of Texas do ordain and establish this Constitution." It's a lot shorter. Let's take a look at our assignment today. We're going to begin with comparing the U.S. and Texas Constitution. It should look like this. Take a moment to look at the two preambles and see if you can spot what they have in common. Take a look at the parts I've highlighted. Hopefully you notice the same thing. Both preambles state that the people establish this Constitution, meaning the people created their government. If we create our government, we know its purpose is going to be to serve us. Most people are not going to create a government to serve someone else like a king or a dictator. The people have the power, so the government is intended to serve the people. We, the people, establish these governments. That is the key distinction in both the U.S. and Texas Constitution. If you haven't already done so, go ahead and fill out the first two questions on your assignment. What government principle is found in both the U.S. and Texas Constitution, and how do you know? And what is one difference between the preambles? We've mostly covered that. Then I'd like you to turn your attention to the reading. You are to use this reading to answer the questions on the next page of your assignment. The second page of your assignment, comparing the U.S. and Texas constitutions, is a matrix with 3 columns. In the first column, it tells you that it's going to give you political characteristics. The second column is going to have pre-written characteristics of the United States. The third column will be where you write in characteristics of Texas. So looking at the first row, I see that our political characteristic is going to be the branches of government. And as it says in the column for the United States, the U.S. Constitution divides the government into 3 branches: executive, legislative, and judicial. The president is the head of the executive branch. Now let's turn to our reading, Political Characteristics of the Texas Constitution. It begins, the branches of government. So we know this is going to talk about what's in the first row, and states, the Texas Constitution splits the government into 3 branches. These are the legislative, executive, and judicial branches. The legislative branch makes the law, the executive branch, headed by the governor, carries out the law, and the judicial branch interprets the law. It also punishes those who break the law. So in order to fill in the empty slot for Texas regarding branches of government, I'm going to put that Texas has 3 branches of government: the judicial, executive, and legislative, and that the executive branch of Texas isn't a president, but is a governor. That is the way you should fill in the row branches of government. Now, I'd like you to continue by moving down to the next row, looking at the column checks and balances. Using your reading, I would like you to fill out the blank section for Texas, checks and balances, and then continue using that reading to fill out the rest of the matrix. When you are done with your matrix, you'll have a Venn diagram to fill out. One side for the parts of the Texas and U.S. Constitution that are different from each other, and then of course the overlapping parts are where you write the similarities. And finally, you will have one writing assignment based on the information that you've already put down in both the Venn diagram and the matrix. So use these to create your final assignment. Think critically, take your time, and you're going to do great. I look forward to reading your responses, guys. Thank you so much. See you next time.